All right, we will go ahead and get started. I'd like to thank you all for coming. And today we're doing our flow class and have a little more extra time in our forward folds today. We're going to spend a little bit extra time on the back, more strengthening, stretching, forward folds. A little bit of extra time, being gentle, making this a nice hour of self-care. And to begin, I invite you to close your eyes, have that soft gaze. Begin to find our comfortable seat. Maybe we're in a chair today. Maybe we're on a mat. Always that option to prop the hips up on a blanket or bolster. As we deepen the breath, relaxing the shoulders back and down. We're deciding if we want palms up. It's said to be a sign we're ready to receive. Palms down. We stay more grounded. And as we deepen inhales, again, extending the exhales out just a little bit longer, taking notice of how the body is feeling. How have your thoughts been today? How's that self-talk? Spend a couple more moments with the breath. And again, think about all the things we have to be grateful for. Starting today off. Oh, gratitude. Taking a couple more breaths here. Next inhale, feeling belly, ribs, chest. Slowly releasing on that exhale. And another big, deep breath in. Whole torso expanding. Maybe taking in one more sip of air and slowly releasing. And next inhale, inhaling both arms up overhead. And exhaling, hands coming down the heart center. And again, inhaling both arms up overhead. And exhaling, hands to heart center. And one more final time. Big breath in, arms coming up overhead. Exhaling, hands to heart center. And then making our way to standing. And choosing our props for today. We can have chair at the top of the mat with the seat facing us. It's really just for hand placement, maybe blocks by the side. And finding the mountain pose, beginning to pedal the feet out. Finding that nice, comfortable base, giving the toes a little wiggle, gripping them down into the mat. Noticing the strength, the sturdiness in the ankles. Moving up the legs to the knees, finding that soft bend in the knees. Feeling the quads activate. The pelvis has that slight tuck in. The spine is tall, chin is parallel, shoulders. Give them a little roll, relax them back and down, and let the arms just hang. Maybe noticing the hand, the fingers, getting a little light, a little spacious. Next inhale, rising up just a little taller as if someone was pulling a string from the top of our head. With a strong, grounded pose. Taking one more big breath in here. And out. And your next inhale, we're inhaling both arms up overhead. And as we exhale, we're hinging at the hips, coming down into that first forward fold and just letting it go. Letting the arms dangle. Head, neck, and shoulders just relaxing, just releasing. And nothing to do here. Gravity is doing the work, just giving some time under tension on the low back. And feeling free to take any other intuitive movements that might feel good here, playing with weight in the heels, weight in the toes. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows, swaying back and forth, shake the head, yes, shake the head, no, anything at all. And extended forward fold. We're looking to provide that space, get that release in the low back. You know, this is a breathing exercise as well. Still inhaling deeply through the nose and extending those exhales out. And while we are exhaling, seeing if we can soften. Maybe noticing the fingers have gotten a little lower already. Taking one more big breath in. And then on that exhale, really dipping that head down, completely relaxing the torso, letting it just hang. And then your next inhale, soft bend the knees, and we're slowly uncurling, ragdolling up. One vertebra at a time, uncurling as we rise back into that mountain pose, eventually relaxing shoulders back and down on that exhale. And then taking another big deep breath in and out. Next inhale, inhaling both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. And this time we're inhaling up to half lift, flat back, placing our hands on our props, chair or blocks. Maybe mat, we're rooting down through the left hand, and then on an inhale, right arm rises, gaze can follow. Staying right here for that exhale. Taking another big breath in, raising that arm just a little higher, and then slowly exhaling, right arm lower down. Finding its way to the props, and then on an inhale, left arm raises, gaze can follow. Sinking in as we exhale. Another big breath in, raise that left arm up a little higher. And then as we exhale, slowly lower. Another breath in and a half lift. And then exhale, forward fold. Spill it forward, let it go. Intuitive movements. As we're getting a little looser, maybe palms make their way, wrap behind the heels. Maybe we wrap forearms behind the calves and squeeze the elbows together. One more big breath in and out. And the next inhale, we're slowly uncurling. And again, ragdolling up one vertebra at a time, relaxing shoulders back and down. And from here, from the mountain pose, still just warming up the spine. Next inhale, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Interlacing fingers, pointers extended. And as we exhale, side bend right. Inhaling right back up, tall neutral spine. Exhale, side bend left. Inhaling right back up, tall neutral spine. Exhale, side bend right. This time hold it, maybe biceps squeeze the ears. Maybe we're extending those fingers out, warming up the arms. Maybe we drop that right hand down. Use that support on the hip, lean that left arm over a little more. And then your next inhale, that right arm is raising back up overhead. Exhaling, side bend left. Press away through the fingers just for one breath, and then maybe dropping that left arm down, using that support, getting a little deeper. And your next inhale, left arm raises up overhead. Exhale, slight back bend. Press the hips forward, weight comes into the balls of the feet. Tracing our fingers across the ceiling, adding that little neck stretch, that throat opener, and then on your next inhale, we're returning to that tall, neutral spine. Exhale, forward fold, hinge at the hips, let it go. Another big breath in and out. And then in this forward fold, really checking. Are you holding any tension? Does any part of your upper body need to be doing anything? Can we find that complete release? Head hangs, arms and shoulders hang. Nothing is really doing anything. One more breath in and out. Next inhale, we're finding that half lift, flat back, placing our hands. And then as we exhale, stepping back into downward dog, right foot, left foot. Press the hips up and back. And then we're still stretching out the back. We're pressing away through the palms, dipping that head down. Finding that shoulder, that upper back stretch. We're raising the hips up, and maybe we're pedaling out the feet as well, bending one knee, dropping the opposite heel a little closer to the mat. Waking up the hamstrings. What part of your body is speaking to you? Where does that extra attention need to be? And then on your next inhale, we're gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees, and slowly walking feet up to meet the hands, and exhaling, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up, maybe finding that slight back bend at the top, and exhaling, hands to heart center. And again, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, place the hands, left foot steps back, followed by the right, pressing hips up and back. Downward dog, big breath in here. Exhaling, let it go, sink heels down. Next inhale, right leg rises. Exhaling, knee to nose, stepping it through. If we're using a chair, we're gonna angle that right foot out. If we're on blocks, we can keep that toes pointed straight forward. Now on our inhale, we're bending into that right knee, squeezing shoulder blades together, raising the gaze. We're finding that cow stretch with the torso. As we exhale, cat back stretch, straightening right leg. And saying hello to the hamstring, maybe exploring the pauses here, maybe coming right back into that inhale. And we can take this motion however we wish. Connecting your breath with movement, pausing and holding one of these stretches. We're going to take about 2 more rounds. One of my favorite ways to loosen up the hips. And on our next exhale, meeting back in that cat back stretch. Right leg straight, maybe toes raised up here. And then on an inhale, we're returning to that high lunge base. Right foot finds the mat. And then as we exhale, right foot steps back to meet the left, pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Inhaling, left leg rises. Exhale, knee to nose, stepping it through, angling that left foot out if we're on the chair. Feet can stay on train tracks with the blocks. On our next inhale, we're dipping into that left knee, squeezing shoulder blades together, raising the gaze. As we exhale, cat back stretch, straightening left leg. Maybe toes raise on the left foot and then playing into this motion. Taking 3 or 4 more of these at your pace. Maybe we're connecting breath with movement. Maybe we're feeling called to explore those pauses, hold those stretches. Taking about 1 more round on this left side. We started with that inhale, finishing with an exhale, finding that cat back stretch, pausing there. Maybe right foot finds the mat, maybe the left toes raise up, and we can play into bending and straightening that left leg. And next inhale, returning to that high lunge base, rolling that left foot back down to the mat. And then exhaling, left foot steps back to meet the right. Pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. Exhaling, let it go. And then option to flow, next inhale, floating out to plank. And pausing right here, pressing away through the palms, engaging the core. And we are going to do a little extra back today. So we have to do a little extra core as well. They all go together like peanut butter and jelly. So in this mountain climber right here, we're going to do those 6, or in this plank, those 6 mountain climbers, 2 knee to elbow. And step it back into plank, 2 knee to nose, bring it right down the middle. And then 2, cross it over, opposite knee, opposite elbow. Another big breath in. And then exhale, slowly lowering. Elbows brushing the rib cage, and then on an inhale, we're pressing up into that upward dog, and we're holding right here. 1 more big breath in. And then exhaling, hips up and back. Downward dog. Another big breath in. Exhale, let it go. And then next inhale, soft bend the knees, gazing at the hands and slowly walking feet up to meet the hands. And exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. The next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up. Maybe find that slight back bend at the top. And exhaling, hands to heart center. 1 breath in. And return to mountain. Pedaling the feet out. All right. From here, next inhale, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, chair pose. We're just going to bend the knees. Drop the hips, pelvis finds that anterior tilt. Weight is in the heels. Can we give the toes a little wiggle? And then sticking that pelvis out, our gaze is down, neck is still in line with the spine. And our options for our hands, shoulder height, shoulder width. We can come to heart center, give the shoulders a little break. We can extend them up about 45 degrees. So we want to get a little more active in the shoulders today. Where do we want to work? Where's your intensity level today? One more breath in here. And then as we exhale, we're straightening the legs, hinging at the hips, placing our hands, and right foot takes that step up and back. Right foot only. We're going to find our warrior one base. We're going to drop that right heel down, toes angled out about 45 degrees. We're floating the hands and rising on an inhale. Exhale, sinking into that warrior one. Do we have that knee over ankle alignment? And then we've played into the hips a little. So where can that right foot go? Can we walk that foot back? Or maybe walk that front foot forward a little, dip into that knee a little bit. And we want to find that area, find our edge. We feel a little tension. We feel like our standing base is just a tiny bit of work. And we're taking one more breath in here. And then as we exhale, we're finding that humble warrior. We're hinging at the hips, tucking chin to chest, hands come behind the back, maybe fingers interlaced. Maybe we grab the first knuckle and then we press them away from the low back, raising the palms up. Shoulder blades are squeezed together. Torso kind of hovering off of that front quad. Now as we're raising these hands away from the low back, we're feeling that back engage. The shoulder blades are squeezed together. This is a flexing, a strengthening pose for the back. And then on our next inhale, we begin slowly rising up. Eventually releasing that bind on the hands, bringing both hands up overhead all the way to find that slight back bend. And then on an exhale, we're slowly lowering with control. Framing the front foot, right foot pivots forward as the hands arrive, and then left foot steps back to meet the right, pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. Exhale, let it go, option to flow, inhaling out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower, elbows brushing the rib cage, inhaling, upward dog. Exhale, hips up and back. Downward dog, another big breath in. And out. Next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees, or slowly walking feet up to meet the hands. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. And next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up, maybe finding that slight back bend. And exhaling, hands to heart center. And other side, inhaling, both arms up overhead. Exhale, chair pose, bend the knees, press the hips back. Weight goes into the heels. Toes wiggle, choosing our hand placement, heart center, shoulder height, shoulder width. Maybe we raise it up a little, generate some heat in the shoulders. And in the chair pose, maybe we bring in the attention to our face. Can we relax the eyes, the cheeks, the jaw? Can we let go of the tension, drop the hips just a little more for one more breath in. And then on an exhale, we're hinging at the hips, placing our hands, and left foot takes that step up and back. And then we adjust our base. Walk that left foot back, walk that right foot forward, knee over ankle alignment, left heel, grind it down, toes 45 degrees out, floating the hands, and then rising on an inhale. Sinking in as we exhale. Another breath in, lengthen, reaching, stretching. Strength all the way through the fingertips, and then on an exhale, finding that humble warrior, tucking chin to chest, hinging at the hips, fingers interlace, or maybe we grab at the first knuckle and then we raise. those fists away from the low back. One more breath in here and out. And next inhale, we're slowly rising with that back flat, releasing the bind on the hands, both arms coming up overhead. Maybe we find that slight back bend, and then as we exhale, slowly lower with control. Pivoting left foot forward when our hands arrive, right foot steps back to meet the left, pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. Exhale, let it go, option to flow, inhaling out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Another breath in and out. Next inhale, gazing at the hands, soft bend the knees, or slowly walking feet up to meet the hands. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Next inhale, reverse swan dive, arms going out and up, baby, finding that slight back bend at the top, and exhaling, hands to heart center. One breath in, and return to mountain. Pedaling the feet out, coming back to the breath, maybe closing the eyes, finding that soft gaze here. And once again, noticing the mat beneath the feet. Slight bend in the knee. A little tuck of the pelvis, the spine tall. And notice the breath. Not just filling the lungs. Filling the whole body with life, with energy. On your next inhale, inhaling both arms up overhead. Exhaling, hinging at the hips, forward fold. Inhale, half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold, placing hands, right foot steps back, followed by the left, pressing hips up and back, downward dog, big breath in. Exhaling, let it go. Next inhale, right leg rises. Exhaling, knee to nose. Stepping it through, keeping it right down the middle, and we're floating the hands. And we're rising on an inhale. Sinking in as we exhale. Another breath in, lengthen, reaching, extending, stretching the arms up. And then as we exhale, we're finding our warrior two. We're dropping that back heel, arms out to a T, and gazing over right middle fingers. Finding that stretch. Fingertips to fingertips, long as we can get. Then your next inhale, we're flipping the front palm, leaning forward. Exhale, side bend. Reverse the warrior, choose the gaze. And then maybe we're already in our reverse warrior, but there's always that option to work that edge, slide in that left foot back. Find that stretch in your legs. Make this whole standing sequence a hip opener. One more breath in. Reaching that top arm back, and then as we exhale, we're finding that extended side angle. Right forearm finds the right thigh. Left arm, bicep to ear, and reach and stretch. Nice long line, fingers to toes on that left side. Maybe we add a twist. Maybe we drop that right arm down. Press into the inside of the leg, shoulder stack. Maybe reach it a little more with that left arm, armpit palm spinning down. And your next inhale, we're rising back up to that warrior two. Sinking in as we exhale. Another breath in and out. Next inhale, we're dropping that left arm down, pivoting left foot forward, and returning to that high lunge, and then sinking in as we exhale. Another breath in, lengthen, reaching, stretching arms up, and then as we exhale, we're opening up for triangle. We're dropping the back heel, this time straightening front leg too. Arms out to a T, palms facing the mirror, and we're gazing over the right thumb. Now as we inhale, we begin to hinge forward. When we can't hinge anymore, dropping that right arm down, left arm towards 12 o'clock. Deeper twist here than that extended side angle. Finding your zone, your balance of ease and effort. Using that right arm, pressing into the inside of that right leg. Stack the shoulders, generate that twist. Left arm is high. And then on our next inhale, reverse into triangle. Letting that left arm travel down that back leg. Now right arm reaches, and we have that nice long line, fingers to toes on the right side. Stretch that arm up. Reach it for the ceiling, create that space. One more breath in here. And then as we exhale, we're cartwheeling down, bending into the right knee, pivoting left foot forward. When our hands arrive, right foot steps back to meet the left, pressing hips up and back. Downward dog, big breath in. Exhale, let it go. Next inhale, left leg rises. Exhaling, knee to nose. Stepping it through. Floating the hands and rising on an inhale. Sinking in as we exhale. Lengthening the arms. Strength all the way through the fingertips. Pinky fingers spinning in. And then your next exhale, warrior two. We're dropping that right heel. Arms out to a T. Gazing over left middle fingers. Big breath in here. Stretch and fingertip to fingertip out. Another big breath in. And out. The next inhale, flip the front palm, lean forward. Exhale, reverse the warrior. Choose the gaze, add the next stretch. Attention, always the option to have that attention on the breath. Maybe it's on that left side body. Rib cage expanding, shoulder stretching. Reaching that left arm back, and then on an exhale, we're cartwheeling over, extended side angle, left forearm, left side, right arm, bicep to ear. Armpit palm spinning down, nice long line, fingers to toes. On that right side, find that length, find that extension. We want to add a twist, drop the left arm down. Press into the inside of that left leg. Shoulders were stacked. Right arm reaching, reaching. And your next inhale, we're finding that warrior two again, hinging back up. Sinking in as we exhale. Another breath in. And out. Next inhale, high lunge, right arm drops down. Spins forward as right foot pivots forward, and we raise and both arms back up overhead. Beautiful transition, sinking in as we exhale. Another breath in, lengthening. And then exhale, triangle base. We're dropping that back heel again, this time straightening the left leg, arms out to a T. And we're gazing over the front thumb and then beginning to reach forward like we're trying to shake someone's hand, eventually dropping that left arm down. Right arm towards 12 o'clock. Choose the gaze, generate the twist. We're using that left hand, that left arm on the inside of that left leg. Maybe stack the shoulders, maybe raise that right arm up. And then your next inhale, we're reversing the triangle. Right arm traveling down that back leg, and now that left arm finds that reach, finds that extension, fingers to toes. Long as we can get, extend that arm up. One more big breath in here. And then as we exhale, starting that long cartwheel down, bending into the left knee, pivoting the right foot forward when our hands arrive. Left foot steps back to meet the right, pressing hips up and back, downward dog. Big breath in. Exhale, let it go. And then option to float, inhaling out to plank. Exhale, slowly lower. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Another breath in and out. Next inhale, soft bend the knees, gazing at the hands, or slowly walking the feet up. As we do, feet come to the edge of the mat, heels in, toes out. And then we're lowering down, squat. And again, taking this squat however we wish. Pulsing up and down, finding stillness, letting the hips sink, maybe wiggling side to side. Taking another breath or here for intuitive movements, and then eventually placing our hands and making our way down onto our mats. We're going to come right down onto our bellies. Bringing palms about mid-chest. Walking the legs long. We're going to get right into back bends. First up, baby cobra, palms mid-chest, elbows tucked in. Walking the legs long, tops of the feet on the mat. And then on an inhale, pressing down on the tops of the feet. Feeling a couple ribs off the mat. Hands maybe float, giving the fingers a little wiggle, gazes down, neck in line with the spine. One more breath in here. And then as we exhale, slowly lowering, taking a cheek, ankles falling out to the side. And returning chin to the mat. Squeezing elbows in, walking the legs long. The next inhale, baby cobra, round two. Press down on the tops of the feet, hover the kneecaps, peel a couple ribs off the mat, float the fingers. Maybe add a smile. Letting the tension go from the face. One more breath in here. And exhale, slowly lower with control, taking opposite cheek, ankles falling out to the side. Actually returning chin to the mat. Walking the legs long, tucking the elbows in. Next up, we're going to do 2 rounds of cobra. This time we are using the hands. Elbows still tucked in on an inhale. Press down on the tops of the feet and press into the palms. Arms don't have to come completely straight. We can still have a bend in the elbows here. Hips are still on the mat. Palms pressing into the mat and tops of the feet pressing into the mat. One more breath in. And then exhale, slowly lower. Taking opposite cheek, ankles falling out to the side. Returning chin to the mat, round two, cobra. Squeezing elbows in this time. We want to keep them squeezed in. Walking the legs long, and then on an inhale, press in to the palms. Press down with the feet, and elbows still find their way to the rib cage. Give them a little tuck in. Wonderful, wonderful. One more breath in. And then as we exhale, slowly lower. Taking opposite cheek, ankles falling to the side from here, extending arms out long. Prepare for a couple rounds of half locust. Palms up or palms down. We're going to wiggle our hands underneath our thighs. Bring the chin to the mat. And we're going to start off with one leg half locust. We're going to be raising the right leg first. We're going to extend that left leg out, press down on the top of the left foot, and raise the right foot up. So right leg raised, toes are pointed. We're peeling a couple ribs off the mat, and we're pressing down on the left foot. Kind of like little scissors, scissor kick maybe. One more breath in here. And then as we exhale, we're slowly lowering, switching sides. When it touches right foot, press down on the top of the right foot, raise the left, peel the ribs back off the mat. Add that little smile. And we're still finding that length. Legs are stretched out long. One more breath in. And then exhale, slowly lower. Taking a cheek, ankles falling out to the side. Turning chin to the mat. Hands still tucked under the thighs, walking the legs long. Half locust, both feet. Next inhale, feet float, toes are pointed. Find that reach, find that length. Peel a couple ribs off the mat. When we have that full extension of the legs, we start adding a little height, raising them up a little higher, maybe peeling one more rib off the mat. Maybe we're finding that smile, and then on an exhale, slowly lower. Taking opposite cheek. Ankles falling out to the side. Returning chin to the mat. Finding that length in the legs. And next inhale, half locust, round two. Float the feet, point the toes, find that length, add a little height, maybe peel one more rib off the mat. We're here for one more breath in, raising everything up just a little higher. And then as we exhale, slowly lower. Taking opposite cheek, ankles falling out to the side, wiggling our hands out. Leaving them long by our side, but bringing the palms down if they're not already there. Returning chin to the mat. Walking the legs long. Now we're going to do a couple rounds of full locust. On an inhale, feet float. Arms float. We peel a couple ribs off the mat. Now with those legs, find that length. We're pointing the toes. We're stretching. Then we're adding some height. Maybe arms raise up a little bit. Maybe we feel one more rib finds its way off the mat. And then on an exhale, slowly lower with control. Taking a cheek, stretch the neck, ankles fall out to the side. Returning chin to the mat. Walking the legs long. Coming up onto the fingertips. Getting ready. Last one. Full locust. Your next inhale. Rising up. Feet, legs, arms, shoulders, ribs coming off of the mat. Here for two more breaths in and out. Last one, big, slow, deep inhale here, raising everything up. And then as we exhale, slowly lower. Taking a cheek, ankles falling out to the side. The work is done. It is stretchy time. We're staying on our tummies, but we're getting Then begin to slowly make our way into Sphinx. So bringing our palms back up towards the shoulders, then beginning to work the elbows underneath the shoulders. We extend the arms out to number 11. Palms are flat, fingers spread wide. Feet find a couple distance apart. We press down on the tops of the feet, hover the kneecaps, and raise the gaze with a slight squeeze of the shoulder blades. One more breath in here. And then as we exhale, our hands coming together as we slowly lower our heads down. Maybe forehead, maybe cheek rests on the back of the hands. Either way, what is comfortable for you. And from here, eventually making our way back up to seated, maybe coming through that fetal position, resting our cheek on our bicep, curling knees in. And we can press ourselves up to seated, swinging our legs around front. And as we get ready for some forward folds, maybe propping the hips up like that. We just find that exaggerated curve in the low back kind of nice to start out the folds with. Just letting the hips just fall off of here. And continuing with extra back stretching, we are going to get 3 forward folds in. First is going to be single head to knee, bringing the sole of the right foot into the left thigh, maybe propping that hip up, depending on how the hamstrings are feeling, blocking going to the left knee as well. And we're inhaling both arms up overhead, twisting towards that left leg, and then starting with that hinge with that back flat, and then eventually rounding everything and letting it all drop. The chin is tucked and the breath is deep. You are doing everything you need to be doing. Next inhale, slowly uncurling. Raising up one vertebra at a time, switching out our legs, switching out any props we found comfort with. Bringing both hands up overhead on an inhale, twisting towards that right leg, and then starting with that hinge, reaching as far as we can, and eventually dropping everything down. And coming deep in a little bit. Next inhale, slowly uncurling. Now we're coming wide legs forward fold. Bringing our legs out as wide as we feel comfortable, and then we are going to cross it over. We're going to come down the middle last. So starting off here, we're bringing left hand towards that right foot, and we're leaning over on that little cross stretch. Next inhale, slowly uncurling. Moving our hands towards our left leg, and then as we exhale, slowly reaching them out. Next inhale, slowly uncurling. Bringing feet comfortable distance apart, and then one time down the middle, we're inhaling both arms up overhead. And then again, as we exhale back as flat, we're hinging, we're reaching, eventually dropping everything down. And then here again, the first 30 seconds, no stress, no strain. We'll spend a little extra time in this one. Next inhale. Filling belly, ribs, and chest. And then as we exhale, seeing if we've created any space, can we creep the hands forward? Can we lower the head just a little bit? Can we soften in? Your next inhale, slowly uncurling. Rising up one vertebra at a time, removing our props. Going to make our way down onto the mats. And we can come down on the elbows. We did a lot of extra back, very little core. We can take that slow boat down. If we want, we might as well fire up a little bit of core in the very closing moments of class. Arms come out to a T. And we're bending the knees, soles of the feet on the mat. Then we're floating the feet. And then as we exhale, we're twisting right, gazing left. And we want that right leg resting comfortably. Maybe it rests comfortably on the floor. Maybe it's on a blanket or a block or a bolster. We're looking to let go of all tension. The face, hands, fingers, shoulders, arms. Maybe thinking back to the opening forward folds we were in, just letting everything go. Do the same things in these closing twists in the Shavasana. Let it go. Little bit more core, a little core challenge on our next inhale. Switching sides, just bringing the knees directly up over the hips, wiggling out that lumbar, and then as we exhale, slowly with control, legs lowering down to the left, gazing right. Checking if any tension crept in during that transition. On our next inhale, slowly making our way out of this twist. As the soles of the feet find the mat. We're giving ourselves a couple windshield wipers or double knee hug, or maybe happy baby, anything at all. And when you are ready, making your way into your version of Shavasana. And we have the blankets, a pillow or neck roll, bolster can go under the knees. Or if we're looking for another gentle hip opening, bring the bolster under the ankles, find that butterfly or that cobbler position. I'm going to use all the props available. Allow the body to be as supported as possible. The body is relaxed. Breath can become very slow and subtle. Taking this opportunity to connect within the best possible way for you, whether that's following the rise and fall of the chest, following the air as it enters and exits the nostril. Your mind has wandered away from the body. Please allow it to gently return. Begin to deepen the breath. Bring a movement back to the fingers and toes. And giving ourselves the next couple of moments any additional movements, another double knee hug or full body stretch. Anything at all. Returning to the body, returning to the space. Slowly, gently, and eventually making our way back to a comfortable seated position. Closing with one final inhale, inhaling both arms up overhead, gathering new energy for the day. Exhaling hands to heart center, sealing that in, carrying that with us. And I thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to speak to me after class. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.
Sorry, I was out today. My shoes got socks. Got a pair of them just like